a down dog. So let's go ahead, get our feet out a little bit wider than hip width distance, hands on the floor. We can walk those feet back a little bit. And at first, let's just cycle out those heels a little bit, getting into the calves, getting into the back of the legs. Slowly up and down, enjoying this inverted position, starting to take some deep breaths in the nose and out of the mouth. Very good. Now you can keep a bend in your knees if that feels comfortable. I want you to start to push your chest back towards your thighs now. So pushing the ground away from you, feeling that stretch in your upper back, in your shoulders a little bit. And then if you like, start to rotate those shoulders and those hips from side to side. Maybe feeling a little bit of stretch in the lats, down the side of the body there, in the lower back. Very good. Softly bring those knees down to the floor. We're next going into a cat-cow. So hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. We're going to first inhale as we gaze up to the sky and drop our belly button to the floor. Exhale as we arch our back to the ceiling. Tuck our chin to our collarbone, tuck that tailbone under. Again, inhale as we gaze up. Belly button to the floor. Exhale as you push the floor away, arch that back to the sky. Now here, I want you to continue moving through this dynamic stretch at your own pace. However, I'd like you to make sure you match it up with your breath. And in regards to matching up your movement with your breath, be aware of that throughout the rest of this class. Any dynamic movements that we do, I want you to go at your pace and add an intensity that's matched up with what your body needs here today. All right, go ahead and roll it on over to your butt. We're going to sit with our heels out in front of us at about a 45-degree angle. Then we're going to drop those knees over to the side. Rearrange those legs to look like 90-degree angles through your hips and through your knees there. Then we're going to sit up nice and tall. If you need those hands behind you to help prop you up a little bit, you may have some tightness in that hip capsule. You can go ahead and do that. And then whenever you're ready, we're just going to keep our heels planted on the floor and rotate those knees to the other side. You should still have about a 90-degree bend in those legs. Again, sitting up nice and tall, feeling that stretch there. You can alternate as often or as little as you'd like here. And you can push with more intensity. If you push that back heel down into the floor and try to internally, or I guess externally rotate your thigh there, you're going to feel that intensity of that stretch there up in that front hip. Very good. All right, next we're going to come into a 90-90 twist. So we're going to be laying down on our side, again with our knees and our hips at about 90 degrees, and our arm is going to come from in front of us all the way up and around to coming behind us. Now, if you're pretty flexible in your thoracic spine, to make this a little bit more engaging, more difficult for you, you can drop that bottom leg back, bring that top knee down to the floor, pin it down to the ground, and then go into that rotation. Again, try to get that top shoulder to kiss the floor behind you. You're going to feel an increase in intensity there. So keep that going, trying to exhale on the way back there. Again, using that exhale to allow you to get a little bit deeper in that stretch. Let's get one more. Very good. Next, we're going to go with an arm sweep. So you're in that exact same position. Keep pinning that knee down to the floor, but now this hand is going to reach out as far as it can on the floor in front of you, and you're going to try to make the biggest semicircle around your body, keeping your arm locked out as straight as possible. All the way back, palm's going to flip up and then flip back down. And once your hand gets low behind you, you can go ahead and bend that elbow and bring your hand up into your middle back to get a little bit more of the shoulder before reversing that and coming back to the front. So again, reach as far as you can. Bend that elbow, hand into the middle of the back. I like to call that handcuffing yourself. And keep on moving through it. Nice and slow, nice and smooth, nice and steady. Keeping and maintaining that soft, rhythmic breath. Last one here. And then we're going to seamlessly shift into our pretzel. That top hand still stays on that knee. The hand that was moving is now going to grab onto that bottom leg. From there, we're going to rotate that top shoulder towards the back, getting our T-spine rotation. And then as we come out of that rotation, we're now going to push our foot against our hand, drive that bottom hip into the floor, and the leg that you're hanging onto here, you're going to feel a nice deep quad stretch. So a couple seconds on that quad stretch, and then you can relax that, come into that thoracic rotation. A couple seconds there, come off that, go back into that quad stretch. Get back and forth, back and forth. And if one's a little bit more tight than the other, and you want to spend more time on it, as always, you can go ahead and do that. And if there's any of these stretches that you feel you want to spend more time at, and you're taking this class on demand, feel free to pause and hang out there a little bit longer. All right, let's flip it on over to the other side. We're going to be doing those same 3 movements with our other arm. So again, if you need those knees stacked to help get that full range of motion, you can absolutely do that. If you need a little bit more, again, bottom leg shoots back a little bit, top leg gets pinned down by that front arm, and we go into that 90-90 twist. And exhaling on the back, inhaling as we come forward. And if it helps to close your eyes and just really tune in to what your body is telling you. Listen to what your body is saying here. If there are any serious points of tension, maybe there's a little pain. If there is, I want you to ease out of it. There should never be any pain with any of the stretches that we do. So as always, orientate yourself differently in that stretch or just come out of it completely. Next, we're going back into that arm sweep. So again, reach those fingertips forward, long, straight arm, circling your body again, trying to create the biggest circle around you. And then at the back, handcuffing yourself back behind you. And then slowly coming back around. So again, in front of us, our palm is facing down. As soon as your arm gets above your head, the palm's starting to flip upward towards the sky. You go a little bit further, and then you're going to internally rotate that arm. Keep going, keep going, keep going, palm towards the floor. Handcuff yourself, and then repeat in the opposite direction. So now as you're coming back around, you're externally rotating, until that palm's back down again in front of us. So let's get one more together. Reach, 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 reach. Exhaling nice and deep, keeping that front knee pinned down. It's probably my all-time favorite arm stretch. All right, getting into our pretzel now. So again, just grabbing that bottom foot. You can push your foot into your hand and push that hip into the ground. You're going to feel that quad get a nice deep stretch. Once you're ready to relax that, relax the hip, relax the push into your hand, and now we rotate, again, front hand keeping that knee towards the floor, and then that top shoulder reaching back behind us. Again, the knee and the shoulder both don't have to touch the floor. It's pretty unlikely that they will unless you're just incredibly mobile, incredibly flexible here. But that is the goal. That's what we're wanting to feel. That's what we're wanting to reach for on each of those. And again, take your time, a couple seconds on each if you like before switching, or if you want to hold one a little longer, absolutely okay. Last one. Very good. All right, let's make our way on up to standing. Next, we're going to come into a standing quad stretch with reach. So go ahead, find your balance. Coming back into that quad stretch. If you need to hang on to something for balance, go ahead and grab that. However, if you would rather reach on up nice and tall, we can think about extending through our spine, reaching. And as always, the more you press that hip forward and the more you pull that heel towards your butt, the deeper of a quad stretch you're going to get. If you want to make this dynamic in nature, again, a couple seconds on, a couple seconds off, you can actually break at the hips. That's going to release that tension. And then as you stand up tall, you push those hips forward, reach for the sky. That's going to bring you back into the stretch. So a couple seconds on, a couple seconds off. That's going to make it nice and dynamic. As always, you can do this statically as well. So just holding that with consistent tension. And let's shake that out. Come on over to the other side. Again, quad stretch with that reach. So find your balance. Reaching, 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 pushing that hip forward. And relaxing out of it if you're going dynamic. Now, usually, if you're not quite sure when to go dynamic and when to go static with your stretches, a good rule of thumb is before any type of workout, any type of exercise, you want to keep it dynamic. After the workout or as a standalone stretch session, it is acceptable to do those stretches statically. It's just been shown that static stretching can take away some of our strength, some of our power output if done before a workout. So we definitely want to stay away from that. So keep that in mind. Again, making sure that your movement is matching up properly with your goals. Very good. Shake all that out. All right, next we're coming into a squat to knee hug. So here, we're going to, again, come into a nice soft bend in our knee, coming down a little bit lower now to challenge. Then we're going to stand on up, get a nice tall knee hug. So we're pulling that shin, that knee towards our chest, extending through that leg, that standing leg. And then when we come back into that squat, that's when we're releasing the stretch. Coming tall, pulling the toe up to the shin. Ooh, finding that balance. And if you're having trouble holding your balance here, instead of focusing on just trying to stay upright and balance, we want to really get into a nice deep stretch. So my suggestion to you would be, if you have a door frame, if you have a wall, if you have a cabinet that you can lean your shoulder up against, that's going to free up your hands to keep pulling up on that knee. And again, going in and out of it as you see fit, or just holding that with constant tension the entire time. Let's go ahead and shake that leg on out. Come on over to the other side. Again, soft bend in the knee. Nice deep breath. Pulling the toes up to the shins. Locking out that bottom leg here. And then relaxing on down as needed. Good. Slow and steady. Also, another tip to help with your balance, if you are having trouble, think about driving the big toe of that standing foot into the floor. It's probably very likely, if you are having trouble with your balance, especially from side to side, that big toe is popping up off of the floor. So really drive that foot through the floor, specifically that big toe. Keep breathing nice and deep. Let's get one more big pull. Good. Shake all that out. All right, next we're going into a sumo squat stretch. So our feet are going to be nice and wide here. Let's go ahead and point those toes out to the side a little bit. We're going to sink down nice and deep, hips low, and we're going to push our knees out with our arms. In this position, you're going to feel that nice deep stretch in your groins. So take some deep breaths. Try to keep your chest up a little bit instead of folding over here. We're going to keep that chest up nice and tall. And then, once you feel a little bit more comfortable in this squat position, we can start to shift our body weight slightly from side to side. Still pushing those knees out. We want to make sure our knees are tracking in line over our big toes as we go from side to side, and that we're also keeping that heel connected to the floor. When you keep that heel connected down there, you're going to feel a nice deep stretch here in your Achilles tendon in that lower leg. Keep on breathing, slow and steady. Keep pushing those knees out. And let's slowly stand it on up. Whew. All right, we're going to finish with a couple of deep breaths. So big breath in the nose. Hold it at the top. And exhale out. Reach those arms wide, 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 wide. And one more time. Deep breath in. Hold it at the top. Sip it a little more through the mouth. And reach wide and just let that air seep out of you nice and slowly all the way to the bottom. And that is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm